What's up, all yins, guys and gals? Welcome back to Matt DIY. So today we got an interesting project here. We're actually going to do a unique repair on my Volvo XC90 SUV. It's actually pretty common if you own one of these. Years 2005, I want to say, through 2014, it should apply, as well as any P2 models, S60, S80, anything like that. So we're actually going to go ahead and replace the temp sensor, the interior temp sensor, or the thermistor, thermal resistor, in the climate control module that messes with the heat and air. I'll explain a little more once we get in the car. Anyways, guys, before we go ahead and tackle this, though, if you like these kind of videos and learning how to do things yourself, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. Also, turn those notifications on so you know when I upload a video, which is about 3 times per week. I'd really appreciate it. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into this one. Alrighty, folks, so here we are in the 2010 XC90. Again, this will cover any S60, S80, P2 Volvo from about 1999 through 2014 in the XC90 models. So basically, this is the climate control module. You've got your heat and air and your adjustable on each side, passenger and driver. For different temperatures, you have auto mode and all that. So the issue is, if you see these little slots here, and you can see one's a little bit bent there because, you know, I didn't know what I was doing. I've had this car for a few years now. Absolutely love it. But in any case, I noticed one day that there was some like dirt, fuzz, dust, whatever you want to call it, building up in here behind these this little vent here. And I was like, I wonder what that is. Wonder if it's some sort of like temperature sensing something or other in there. So I actually went ahead and stuck something in there to get the dust out. Well, unbeknownst to me, because I apparently didn't know what I was doing, when I stuck it in there, I actually broke the thermistor, or the thermal resistor, as you would call it. And basically what the thermal resistor does is the resistance changes according to the temperature in the car, and that tells the car how hot or cold the interior is, so then the air and heating functions can actually function. Ever since then, I've had some issues with not only air conditioning, but heating as well. It's either really hot, or it's, not hot enough. You can't really get an in-between. I've even found that when I don't use it on auto mode and just set my own temperature, it really has a hard time of adjusting. And I think it's probably because it doesn't know where it is, temperature-wise, inside the interior of the vehicle. So I actually went ahead, ordered some new thermal resistors, or thermistors, whatever you want to call them. I'll put a link down in the description for you guys of ones that I purchased that I believe will work. Did some research. They are ohms are 10K, and you just have to make sure it's within a proper temperature range. But in any case, I'm going to go ahead and take this out. It shouldn't be too hard. I believe it's just 2 screws here, and this should pop out from the bottom of the radio. I hope we don't have to take the whole radio out. But I can't remember 100%. So we're going to go ahead and pop this out. I'll show you guys how to do that. And then we will go in the house and work on the electronics. Replace that thermistor, put it back together, install it, make sure it works, and, we'll go from there. I do want to mention, if you don't have Volvo Vita software that you can easily reset the computer, make sure before you do this that you go ahead and disconnect the battery. If you don't, the next time you turn on the car, you're going to get an SRS safety restraint system warning message. That is because you're actually interrupting the CAN bus system behind here, the car. I know it's kind of crazy, but the airbags and everything, the system flows through the climate control and radio modules. So be sure to disconnect the battery before you actually mess around with this, unless you have the software, can reset it and go from there. I'm actually just going to use my software because I have to get into the car and reset the service light anyhow. So let me go ahead and set you guys up here. We'll pop out this climate control, get in the house, and work on replacing this resistor. Tough angle to film here by myself, folks, so bear with me. I'm trying to set the camera up for you so you can see what I'm doing. So this is pretty simple. Basically just going to pry up. Ideally you'd have a plastic tool, but just easily pry up on this portion right here, and it should pop up relatively easily, especially if you had it apart before, which I have. You probably couldn't see that, but it was right at the back here. I was just prying up underneath of it. See if I can angle you down just a little bit. So right here, just popping it up. And what you're going to have to do is put the car in neutral. So let's go ahead and do that. And put your emergency brake on. All right, and then you can pull this up just loosely like that. And then underneath of here, you're going to see there's like little tabs. Just go ahead and pop those as you push down. And this insert portion around the shifter should pop right out as such. All right, and then we're gonna get you guys in a little closer here. So you can see there are two screws, one here and one here, and that is actually what holds in the actual climate control itself. So let me see if I can get you a view of that. And I believe they're T25s. This is actually a T20, but seems to work because they're not super tight. Hold the camera here because setting it up is not working. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get this one. I'll just get it with one hand. All right. And before I lose it, get the rest of my fingers. And then this should sort of pop down and out. I'm hoping. Yes, just like that. Right down and out. Okay. Now what's holding this up is actually the connection to the 12-volt socket over here, so you can kind of reach your fingers in and probably pop that loose. So once you have that loose, just a connector that looks like that, it just slides off. There's no clips or anything. Then we're going to go ahead and put the car back in park and actually shut the key off. And then pull this to the side and flip it around and take out the connector here, which will release the climate control module from the car. And what we're looking at here is that's actually the fan that blows air across the thermistor thermal resistor. And you can sort of see, no, you can't really see in there, but let's go in the house. We can work and get this thing taken apart. Alrighty folks, so we're gonna go ahead and open this guy up. So it looks like there are screws all around. So I'm gonna go ahead, take all those Phillips screws out, and then we got clips around, and then this should pop off. So I'm gonna go ahead and take all these out. Alrighty, so then there's these little tabs you can see that kind of hold the plastic cover on, so we're just going to easily go around and try to get those up like so without breaking anything. That's always the biggest hurdle. Okay, looks like it is starting to come there. My fault, my fault. This is why you always got to do it easy, because you don't want to break anything. There we go. Now she's coming off. All right, so here we have the back cover. This is actually the fan. So what I might do is just take this off too, and see if I can just make sure the dust is cleaned out of it and it's pretty good to go. This fan actually blows air. You can kind of see it. See the little fins in there? Yes, this fan blows air over the resistor so that it constantly has fresh air to be sampling, and this one is definitely dirty, so we'll see if we can get some compressed air in there or what we can do. But anyhow, so the part we're actually looking at, and it's definitely broken, is under here. So the next thing we have to do is actually lift this board. And let me see, are there any? All right, so the board just kind of pops out. It's kind of in clips there. So you just pop it out carefully. And that's pretty cool how that all works. And we can just set this aside. All right, that's pretty neat. So here's the actual board. I have to stick this back in because I pulled it out accidentally. It's one of the buttons there. Yeah, interesting. So this is the climate control board. Pretty cool. It actually looks pretty decent. No major corrosion or anything. There's a little bit of something up here, but I think it's almost like glue-like stuff. So anyhow, and the climate control's working fine. Anyhow, this is what we're looking at right here. So and just slide this up, and I've got a little board right there. All right, so that goes back just like that, and you can see. I don't know if you can see, so let me pull you in. This is the thermistor, and you can see how it's not even connected. That's because I attempted to shove something in there to clean the dust out, so we're going to be replacing that. And it's real tiny, so this is going to be interesting. So I think what I'm going to try to do is heat it and just heat the solder and pull those pull the current wires out of there, and then go from there. Okay, so ideally I'd probably have a smaller soldering iron, but this is what I've got to work with here. So I just realized that I moved what I just did out of the field of the camera view, which is great, but basically I just heated up the underside of this board right where my fingernail is and pulled out the old thermistor, which was soldered into there, which looks like this. That end was soldered into the board. All right, so I know it might be hard to see what I'm doing, but basically the thermistor the lead should go through this side, and then the solder ends on this side. So what I'm going to attempt to do, and I'm just using a pair of vice grips here, which is probably not exactly the right tool, but that's going to hold it for me. And then I get the new thermistor. It just came in a 10-pack. They're pretty cheap. I think this was like $6 or $7 for the pack on eBay here. All right, just spread the leads apart, something like this. And basically, this is going to go in right through there. So we'll see. See if we can do this here. That's one side. Woohoo! Should get the other side in. The white on this instant soldering iron really helps. Okay, guys. I know that's probably hard to see. I apologize. Let me get the camera on. Well, actually, no, you can see pretty well. So I just basically have it soldered in, and all I'm going to do now, that actually went really well. I'm excited. All I'm going to do now is add a little solder to the bottom just to make sure we get a good connection, and then I'll cut off the extra leads there. So this part should be relatively straightforward here. Like that. All right. That looks pretty nice. Yep. I think we're good. Got a nice solder joint on each side. And all I'm going to do is cut off the excess. Just like so. This one a little more. All right, guys, I did it. If I can do it, you guys can do it too. Not too bad. And I really recommend, this is a really nice soldering iron. It kind of just creates a short so you have instant heat, so you don't have to wait for it to heat up too long. And it's got that little light there. I think there's something funky with the switch. Sometimes it doesn't always go, but if you just pull it in a little bit, it always works. So anyways, yeah, that really worked well. So now it's just a matter of putting. All right, so I took a look at the footage. I was actually doing something a little bit wrong there. So make sure your thermistor is actually pointing opposite the side where the wires enter the board. So even though you solder it through this side, the thermistor actually pokes through the opposite side, just like that. So you got brown and red, it should face that way, but the wire should go through this side and solder on the back, just like those wires. Okay, then you can stick it through here, the plastic piece. Make sure it's sort of centered in the plastic piece, just so air gets around it. And just kind of easily pop this little board back inside there. And that looks pretty good. I'm just going to take this small screwdriver and just lift the thermistor up just a tad so it's more straight. Perfect. Okay, so now I believe the way it went. All right, so just to show you closer. So there's the red and brown wrapped around this little plastic part. There's the actual plastic piece slid into the board. And then we've got the board with the actual thermistor clipped in right there. And you can see the thermistor itself is right there in the center. So now I pretty much think we are ready to reassemble this thing. And it might be some finagling here, guys, just to get it back to where it belongs. Don't want to force anything, so just make sure it kind of wants to go back. Feels like we have it. Yep. Okay. All right. Take the cover. And we'll get it back on. Just like so. And get the screws put back in. All right, now that the cover's all screwed in, and I blew out the fan, I just took my mouth and put some pressure in there, blew some of the dust out. Now I'm just gonna plug it back in there and put the screws back. All right, there we have it. Just make sure all the buttons are working. Nothing got jammed. That's not a button. New thermistor is in there. Looking good. All right, let's go to the car. Install it. All right, got you guys set up here. Best spot that I can get you. Gonna go ahead and put the car back in neutral. All right. So now, go ahead and get the actual unit back in. Alright. The hardest one to get is going to be the 12-volt plug down here. Whew. It was a bear getting that 12-volt back in. We got it. So now the whole unit should kind of snap up. In the perfect world, right? Get everything in line. Back up. There we go. All right. And then it's just these two screws. Down at the bottom here. I'll just bring it in. Don't want to drop it. There we go. Got one started. I can actually hear the little fan in there running, so I think the repair we just did is probably already working. I'm gonna need two hands for this, guys. I'll be right back. All right, and we're back. So we got this tight. I kind of lifted up on it as I put the screws in, just to make it a little bit easier and tighter like it's supposed to be. And the last step is just to get this piece back on. So while you're still in neutral, go ahead and just clip it in. It'll just go right into place. And then take the front end and dip it down underneath the console there, and then it's just a snap sort of back into place. I suppose. Yeah. All right. It's in there. Looks like a little bit of a gap, but that's how it was. Everything matches up. Yeah. All right. Put it back in park. Key off. Let's start her up and see what we got. All right, everything seems to work. Got air blowing. Yep. Yep, all buttons are working. Good deal. And because I didn't unplug the battery, you guys are going to see that I have, let me turn the air off. You're going to see that I have the focus. SRS airbag service urgent, but I'll take care of that with the computer. No big deal there. So, all right, that's it. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I know the filmography there may not have been the best, and I know I missed that crucial moment when I desoldered the old thermistor, but, you know, that's kind of what you get here trying to do this stuff. But I think I got most of it for you, especially the resoldering and reassembly. Especially when I get to editing, I'll be able to, you know, get that together, and I think it'll be good for you guys. But yeah, that's how we do it, and we should be good as far as the temperature control here in the car, so I'm super excited about that. If this video helped you out at all or you enjoyed it, go ahead and make sure you hit that like button. Drop your comments down below if you have any questions, things like that. I will post the link to the thermistor that I purchased in the description, as well as the comments, so you guys have it easily for you if you'd like to purchase some and do this yourself. But yeah, it should take care of your interior climate control. Should make it run like new again. So hope this was helpful, guys. Until next time, get out there, do it yourself.